Okay, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome, welcome. I'm Afonso Zain Sort of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We want to welcome you to this evening to broadcast. Today is Friday. Let me do a little bit quick adjustment here. And today is Friday, so we want to welcome you here as usual to talking community issue. It's quite interesting what is unfolding in the news cycle and the talking point that is unfolding. Apparently, we are losing track of what is at stake as a country, as a people, and the entertainment aspect is taking preeminence over all that is unfolding. That is something. This is not a. Let me pull here. I believe is LPR Live. Okay, no, still missing the ticker here. Is that something to in my program here? This evening here. I gotta come back down here and see. Okay, LPR Live. All right, with the panelists. So that's it right there. Good evening, welcome. Hopefully my guys gonna be joining me and we're gonna be having a conversation here. But the bigger event is on Sunday. One of the presidential hopeful will be here. But interesting news coming out of one of Liberia's informative news outlet, print media. That is the front page. Reconciliation charters in Liberia could put UP boycott ANC comments on notice. There is a downfall in any of these sort of political arrangements. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners. What is the authenticity of this? And a lot of the conversation that is ongoing is the long state of the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Dr. George Manawiya, visit out of the country. A lot of conversation is going out. What is the good side of it? What is the bad side of it? We are not here to make judgment, but I'll create a conversation thereby it will be done in an honest fashion. So we will be talking about that. Hopefully the Liberal and the rest of the crew going to be joining us here to have this conversation. And of course, we will be picking up comments from our Twitter feed as well. We want to welcome all of you here this evening. Elisha, my own boss, the author of the bestseller, Minister Kai Gerald Willett, Liberty Hijack. It's still on the market, by the way. You can also try to get that. Jacob, Umaru, Pete, and Aaron Civet Weird, greetings as well. Thank you for joining us here. Let's do this. Today is Friday, and of course, Dr. our own senior contributor, Dr. George Toto. Good evening as well. So we're going to be having, I think the Liberal going to find this conversation here more or less interesting here. And what about reconciliation? But how these parties here, what is the authenticities of their reconciliation? These things we see them coming, and it's like you open a coke that is overstay in the fridge, and the next thing it explode in your face. I don't trust these people. I said that in the past, and I still maintain that position. But I know that the liberal is very good. So you're gonna have a different calculation here this evening. You're gonna put it, and I know exactly how you're gonna get this twisted here all over this place here this evening. Oh, I guess he's around already. Let's bring in the liberal progressive of the Liberia Public Radio, who is also a partisan of the Liberty Party. But he claimed the Liberty Party that is in the U.S. Joseph Boyka is not contesting for the presidency of Liberia in the U.S. Is in Liberia. What sort of contrary view of this liberal? Let me bring in the liberal here and see what we can do to square out here, and the rest of the other guys are going to be joining us. There you see in the man from Total. He's in his clan chief African safari here this evening. The liberal progressive. What is that? I'm not hearing you.
I am speaking. You're just not hearing me, but I'm speaking. I'm speaking, Mr. So. Good evening to you as well, and good evening to all of the audience that are watching you this evening. This is the Town Liberal is on the floor here this evening. Thank you for welcoming me, and I'm going to have a field day of the story on Front Page Africa. I'm going to have a field day with that tonight.
Well, you want to be the bang bang medicine now for LPR? Where this every evening you got to put up some sort of showcase or what?
Mr. So, the liberal is not just a liberal, but he's a countryman. And I want to go English, He's a countryman. So he has to, from time to time, put on his country set and come on your show. That you can be wearing the costume there, you go ahead, you enjoy yourself. But we, the country people, we're not going to let the costume business jive off our stuff, Mr. So I'm glad to be here tonight. I hope that the rest of the crowd and the rest of the crew will stay away tonight so the liberal can have fun. Exactly, fun. Because why? You're only one. I can deal with one conservative guy easily than it is to deal with three of them. So that's difficult. But let's have fun here tonight.
Well, today's why TGIF. Today is Friday, so probably
that's
nothing
why.
guaranteed. I'm not sure whether you're going to get a free pass because this is not the traditions of the Liberia Public Radio by allowing people to just throw red meat, even anchor, host, or commentator here. Look, Liberia is at a crossroad, and it is important that when our viewers, listeners, and Liberians cross country, outside of country, take up their precious time to observe, to listen, to see what they can get, and then somebody just come and think they kind of try to be like a comedian to entertain. Not this network, but a lot of crazy stuff is ongoing on platform turning to criminal court judging. It's I don't understand what is happening, but we will not lose focus here at LPR. LPR, the nomenclature of this institution to represent Mother Liberia. So we have to do everything possible we can to make sure that our conversation is proportional. And interestingly, we are adding another layer to this broadcasting. Liberal are going to be bringing you in. You can also, those of you that are on LinkedIn, you can also follow us now. So it's the Facebook, the Twitter, the YouTube, and what was the other one left? What was the other one called? Facebook. So that your medicine grabbing me now.
I'm
you
see, I'm shaking now. You can't remember now. I'm on it.
You are interesting character. So you pour your feet in the water now, right?
I put my card there. You can't remember. Where your knee again? You remember your own knee, sir? Let me hear it. Where your knee?
Okay. On a serious note, for those of you on LinkedIn, you can also follow us now. Facebook. We'll try to make use of the social media, the creations, the innovations of these geniuses that create this social media. They didn't do it for people to just come to be cussing and they just create sort of gossip, or just, I know there's an entertainment aspect, but this seems to just be over the top, and that is so ridiculous. Okay, Lebron, good evening and welcome. Also,
Thank you, Mr. So appreciate it.
let's
Thank
insert
you for being here.
humanity. Yeah, let's insert humanity into this thing. How your Friday go today? And then what? Construction, anything major project in the making?
Yeah. The people, I wish this was in total. We're working on a project here, and it's a drainage project where a long stretch of road, and we're putting in culverts, uh, hundreds of them. And I did most of the work on it, and almost done. They come back, they say, yeah, we like it, but the water coming from up the hill there, we want you to put in this stuff here. And the hillside they're talking about is also rock. So I almost told them, said, no rocking total, I can't do that kind of work. But then again, I just have to. Other than that, Mr. So, we're doing good. We're doing good. We will continue to do the best. And people continue to praise us. I think I told you the last time there was a project up north, a bridge project that they selected my Congolese brother and I. They've ISCA pretty much requested that would be on, because we did another project that I showed you before. We did another, I went live on that. We did another project and everybody was so happy. They requested this one. It's on Route 101, 4-lane highway. And we're going to be doing that again very shortly. Once we're done, I have 2 other projects that I'm doing. One is next door here. So we have a lot of stuff is going. The good thing is when you do something and you do it well, God always blessing you. And so God has blessed me with the talent, and I continue to do the best I can to make sure that I deliver. I deliver not only for myself, but the first thing when we go to this meeting, the people ask, "Oh, you sound like where you?" And I tell them I'm from Liberia, and then that's what people know. So I'm very proud to be a Liberian involved in these kinds of work.
Yeah, I know we have talked this behind the scene, and that's another thing we want to do. Look, the country is faced with challenges, and those issues can be overcome not just only by national government, or not only by oppositions, not only by these folks call themselves advocates. All their advocacy is strictly for political purposes. They are not doing it for anybody. And I don't know what is the right way to go, but they can do whatever we can do. But for us here as LPR here, our purpose here is to impact and to showcase also the expertise of the professionals that we have here. Not because you just want to talk, you are here, but we have people with professional backgrounds, technocrats, people from different background. So I know we have talked it. I want to be having a conversation with you at some point in time. This something told with this loud mouth engineer, roadway, road down, and all of that. It was sort of a showcase to exhibit some of, if not all your work, because I know everything there are laws on the book, but just to take us inside this whole road thing, because these guys that are contesting, everything is just being done to, that sort of salad dressing way. Roll. One group saying, hey, I will grow job. Other groups say, I'm this, I'm that. That is insufficient for me. It doesn't tell me anything that you're going to do anything, because there is nothing that you are revealing. You are not laying out the foundation as to how these things going to be executed. And that's a concern. So we need to change the conversation, the narrative now, which of course is a challenge because we love entertainment, we love drama. Drama is something that we kind of close to us, but we can't even allow that to distract us. So we're going to work it out to have you. And another person who also has serious passions about the future, the future of the country education-wise, or the educational program, is our own contributor, Sister Goya. I'm going to be breaking in here. You have Dr. Toto here, who's also a professor. So we're going to be having this sort of variety of conversations so that we don't just have people here who just talking because they want to talk, or they are bored, they are idle, they don't have anything to do evening hours, but just to come here. But I think that's another way of eye opening, because some of these guys, some of these people you guys support, it appears they don't have plan, no agenda. Everything has been put in one basket and they think they just can wrap it around everybody's neck. Not for me. Maybe it worked for you. That's why you're doing it. But we're going to be having our conversation and hopefully we'll make preparation. Let's get an evening going here. News is something that is current, simultaneously is happening. Let's start from let's start from where it needs to start. Uh, the president of the Republic of Liberia. We're going to come to this story relative this sort of thing here. I don't know whether that's just another attraction to get us to read, which of course is good to read. But there's a lot of conversations outdoor in the public. This sort of long travel by the president of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Ambassador George Manawia, outside of the country, considering all that is unfolding right now. What sort of political decision is that? Is he running the risk here, or um, I don't know what they are doing? What is it really? And I just talked to one or two people today. He just left at it, not even a day, and prices of basic commodity, which is a political commodity, rice is also is wearing court suit now.
Yeah, Mr. So, thank you. Thank you. It's a very interesting subject matter. But we'll be ready whenever you're ready. You call on us. It's not something that we have to go do research. It's something we do every day. It's ingrained in us in terms of roadway design and construction, which I probably will say I take no backseat to nobody. And not that I'm all that, but I know what I know. So, but besides that, let's go to the president trip, which is, he's the president of the Republic of Liberia. And then if invited, based on his schedule and based on what is happening around him, he can decide to take on the invitation and go to those places. But to be out of the country for that long, it's concerning. It's concerning. I hope his health is okay. I hope
What happened to your own cow take kick you off? And you say you mad? You don't know who you're playing with too. You say that won't be making more. Yet, Mr. Henne, thank you so much. He's one of our prompt and valuable listeners. We value you guys' time, all of you, everybody that really show face on this network here. If you are on Omaru as well, on Ellis, right here from the Ocean State, thank you very much as well. Yeah, LinkedIn is a professional social media outlet. And for the first time, I did a post. I got a good. I've been receiving a very good feedback, and all the professionals reaching out. I couldn't believe it. Even my own chief was telling me, "You say you need to get this thing going. You need to get this thing going." For some reason, the Facebook, social media, Facebook aspects kind of get off, but I think we are on, and I think it's going to pace out here. So we're going to. I don't know what happened with the liberal. Something that's what happened when you think you some sort of King Kong. You want to get things going. That what happened. It's the Ocean State. See how that guy. Good evening. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming. So hopefully the liberal going to join back here because the whole system kicking off. Yeah, he was running off too much. He said for the show. So who knows that that's going to be it. But this Sunday we're going to be having a very good show. We intend to talk to all of the stakeholders, especially those that are seeking the higher office of the land, which of course it is their constitutional obligation to do that, to contest. But I think it is time that we have a genuine conversation about their agenda. And this is why interruption on this network, even when the panelists are here, we try to do everything possible we can to take charge, because in itself it's a disrespect to those of you that take off your time to listen. You want to take a message, you want to get a takeaway from the conversation. But when these sort of interruptions and these sort of kangaroo court is planted in the conversation, where you're going to be calling state witnesses to do whatever thing, unfortunately, we're not going to do that here. It's unethical. We're not going to do that here. So if we even bring a guest, and the guest happen to mention Ellis Shani, Ellis is XYZ, What we could do as a network, and the right way to do it, to give Ellis a fair share, is to place a phone call to Ellis and call him and say, hey, during our conversation XYZ, this is what came out about you, and give you the opportunities to see if you want to respond or not. And if we reach out and you decide not to respond, then we are on an obligation to come back as well to our listening audience to also tell you, because that's what this news is all about, proportional. You can't do it one side and you think then it's fair, it's right. No. And this is why we've been reaching out extensively to all of these politicians. In fact, um, one of the political party, MOL, the Movement of One Liberia of Mandela Cooper, they sent in their contributor. We had a very little brief conversation today. Let me just show you her. Dr. Kimant Taranka. Kimant Taranka will be contributing here will be a contributor of the Liberia Public Radio, but she will be representing the interest of the opposition's MOL, that's the Movement for One Liberia, which of course is a major political actor. She's going to be part of our talking point here. We will let you know exactly when she's going to be appearing here, but I can tell you for sure sooner and very very soon, because um, her candidate Madam Cooper, will be appearing on this network. She's going to be my special guest right here on the Liberia Public Radio this Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is going to be 4 o'clock local time in Liberia. And that program is expected to be aired inside Liberia on our sister network, Sky FM and Sky TV inside Liberia. And so based on this here, again, and I said that here, we're not a favor of putting this cash out, Zelle out, but this is strictly being financed, this network is strictly being financed by members and other goodwill Samaritan. We don't usually go out to get this because they're sort of asking for money. People sick and tired of it. And people ask, they don't even come back to tell them how much to raise, what the money for, and all of that. But we are considering doing that, and it's at your own volitions if you want to get. And part of that is to say thank you and perhaps give up more airtime by our sister network. Now, they are not asking us to do it. They didn't ask for that. But for God's sake, as a human being with good conscience, the guys coming to studio, some of them can be off on those days, leaving home, coming way up Ducor there, and take a relay. We have to use our good conscience to pay to transport them. We have to use our good conscience without the network asking us to say, oh, this is fuel, buy this fuel. And we know. So, I mean, as a good person, you have to be rational in your own way of, put it at human conscience. You know, there are a lot of places, a lot of people reach out to us, and we are getting more feedback from the programs and those that are following us. More network reaching out. They want to relay our program. In as much we want to do it, we do not want to hang ourselves. The man, if I had to come back, let me bring it. That what happened when you take carrot and show it to somebody from under the cotton tree. You know what a cotton tree, you know what it means, right? You know it. My town, the tree that had the cotton tree, there's a plate. Before I was born, this real glass plate is on the wall. So if you don't know how to show that Walmart carrot to me, this one here, it just throw you out. But the next one, your computer won't come on until you pay my way account to Sacramento. Okay? So beware, be careful. Muskabe. You saw how you disappeared from the stream. You saw how you disappeared from the stream. That's a warning. Beware. Okay, so you better know how you show that you can't tell. You try it, and next 1 hour I will not even make you go. You will be ready, and you put your hair on on the screen there, and I will just show you until the whole show finish. That's how you cut to yourself. Okay. Yeah. So, Liberal, go you back. Okay. Let me in the intro of fairness. Who did it? Was that me?
No, I was live though. I was on my screen here. I could see myself talking, but you were frozen. So I'm not too sure what happened.
I said, people, that what happened when you start running ahead of your shadow, and you think you want to. You need to get a day drink first. Drink some power. what they got here?
The cartel resting right now. Maybe not even you. That somebody else who trying to show themselves.
That Mr. Hinet, that what Hinet?
That somebody else trying to show themselves.
Oh, okay. Okay. Good. Yeah. Welcome back. This is a technical issue. Sometimes these electronic things, it does happen at times. Yeah, we're talking about the president extensive.
And I spoke extensively, but just to recap what I was saying.
Everything you disappear, my man. You disappear.
Right. No, what I was saying, Mr. So, was that CDC. Most of the time, they will do something good, and then they put their foot in their own mouth. This Malaysian challenge that the president and their government has struggled so hard to pass, they pass it. They pass it this time around. And you would think the people who are advising the president will perhaps tell the president to stay around and milk this to whatever. Go invite the American ambassador. Let him come to your White House and let him tell you, joke with him. So what is the grade, Mr. President? Mr. Ambassador, let the ambassador read the grades, your school, the ambassador will be happy to do that and have fun with it. While the Liberian press is right there. But the same time, the challenge being put out there, you're out. This is, once again, this is a blow. This is something people like Finance Minister Samuel Tuat struggle so hard to achieve. And then you guys here we're talking about the president going out of town. Other people, the president trip, they already start calculating his fuel, the jet fuel. Those are the conversations that is happening right now. Other people are saying he's going here for X, Y, and Z. They're speculating. Instead of you having people like Samuel Toh who have worked so hard for this to take some glory and do some running around the track with victory lap and nothing like that.
What you think responsible? Is this from the part? Is it on the part of GOL lack of information being provided to the electorate? The president is accountable to the people whether they voted for you or not. I remember those days when Samuel Doe is traveling. Sometimes ahead of time, we know exactly the details of the trip. Not details taking into not everything in maybe 100% taking into security. They have their own protocol, but we will know the number of persons traveling with the president, places the president. But sometimes, and it's not just only with president we are. For the most part, lately the chains of communications with the presidential, the press secretary, or maybe the Ministry of Information, they will always wait until the citizens and people start crying foul, then they come to provide explanation. I listened to the Maritime Commissioner on the sister network, Spawn here. And he was talking, okay, well, the president has not been traveling when Joe Biden going in here to carry Air Force One, this and that. We're talking he taking vacation. Come on. Those are far unrelated thing. Yes, even America with all they get their own problem here, but this thing when the president is traveling, when the president is going to Camp David, when the president is going certain places, security reason they will not announce it, but by the time you go look, the ministry or president, the press secretary, the press corps, they will say, well, the president is here for so, and you will You can get a detailed information, but we have to struggle. We have to pull strings here and there. Smith Toby, my own friend, and Solo Kewe, when they're supposed to be even providing presidential briefings of the president's trip, people that the president going to be meeting, Smith Toby friend there on the other end doing live feed. I don't know where the whereabouts of Kwame Opawis, who was the Director General of the Liberian News Agency, not him per se, but we're saying Carrasco, who on the other hand, there, who is a presidential aide, is more or less tend to what is guy named? I just forgotten this guy. He used to be at the executive mansion, videographers and those camera people. I mean, it's just ridiculous. He went to one of those places they don't even allow the media because they should be traveling with the state media, either the Liberian Broadcasting Corporation or LINA. LINA, if we want to make some ridiculous comparison, it would be like a Reuters news agency here because they also collect news from different places and they can get a news. And it can be a good news reporting that they can say, oh, the president is traveling. But when you take people that are carrying doing this sort of cell phone to record the president's live view, that is ridiculous. And that's how some of them were rejected. Why they can't even spend good money to have good, sophisticated things that will add value to whatever the president is doing, and not even only the president, but the government of Liberia. You saw those days when Samuel Doe was driving to doing the ELTV crew, the kind of camera those guys were using. Why they can't make those sort of investment that people will still be doing funny cell phone and all of that, and the thing that you go to places they don't even take you serious. Why somebody is not talking to these people to kind of adjust themselves?
Mr. So at this point, I seriously don't have the energy to advise or even make any recommendation to these people anymore. They'll do what they want to do, and I say good written. All we can do and pray that the election will come and the election result will tell us where Liberian people want to go. Because these people, like you correctly stated, you go into Morocco, where the king, Morocco king and everybody else going, you go in there with cell phone, and then you say you're a press man or the photographer. They look at you, where your tools? What are the tools you got? Cell phone, everybody in here have cell phone. What's your press equipment? Nothing. You just have the press pad on your chest, and the people look at you and say, these people are not serious. You know, and the sad thing is not like we don't have experienced press people in Liberia. So even if you don't have it in your government, you invest and call some of the old timer, some of the retired press people, and let them teach the young people how to behave and how to become a pressman for the president. You don't have that. You don't have that. Like I said, they're always in a battle cry more. They offer nothing they offer.
No, we have to talk there because it's about our country. I remember those days when people like Patrick Coleman, when he was presidential press secretary, when Samuel Doe, the late Samuel Doe, wanted to travel. You have the ELTV crew and other people there, but you're going to see him sitting down and giving a turnaround of the president, who the president going to be meeting. Even though there was no live view, well, assuming there was live view, that's not what he's going to do because he knows his left and right. That's not what he's going to be doing because when you are a presidential press secretary, for example, you are a recorder. You take note. You observe, monitor the activities of the president, who the rendezvous of the president, who you're going to be meeting, so that when you even face the foreign media, you will know exactly. You can't just be speaking off cuff. You will know exactly what you're going to be saying. Oh, tomorrow the president will be having a dinner. The president will be meeting his counterpart. The president will be meeting the social high commissioners or the delegation expected. And that's how you catalog. And when you go through that, people know what time do you have as a presidential press secretary or deputy presidential press secretary. You're doing live stream. How you think the president going to even take note of how tomorrow you expect the president to remember all of the things that the president going to be doing? Who does the briefings of the press? All of that. We don't know how many percent. Sometimes we just hear the number And now people are raising questions.
The sad thing is most of the people that are doing this work, they were right here in the United States. Some of them got their degree, their whatever degree they have, they study here in the United States. And one of the things over my 500 years of staying in the United States, if you just come from Liberia and you just sit down and watch news, it's an education process by itself. It educates you. They tell you the system, how this now. I won't say it now because they even here in the United States, the news system now has been polluted to such a bad degree that you don't want to recommend that. But the point that I'm trying to make is just coming to the United States by itself, it's a way of educating yourself. And these people saw how people here behave in terms of press and the relationship with the president. And in terms of press, somebody who's going to do a press briefing and the relationship with the president. The president is not supposed to be at the podium every day, but you as a press secretary, what is happening when the president leaves? What are some of the conversations? What's happening? You have to inform your people back home. And the only thing you saw when you go on the executive mansion or even the executive mansion webpage, the only thing you will see there, the president now bag another one again. He bringing job back. He now agree. The people agree to do business, to teach people from the Freeport from the Port Authority. That's it. But what lead to that conversation? What was the reason? The leading factor into that conversation must be explained to the people.
It's these things we have to talk it, and not just only to the president. These are things that we're going to also hold these people, you guys, the people you people bringing as well. They are surrounding. Is it a surrounding impacting the activities of leaders in terms of, are they honest with them? Are they telling them, hey, yes, even though I want this job, I want to be a counsel to the president, I want to be a legal man to the president. Do you think at times after work, take phone call or, hey, have a little quiet time, Mr. President, you know, our chief, we got to do this one and do this one. Yeah, I think I do the give you a talk. Are they doing that, or people are more or less protective of their job, just answering yes when it even needs to say no?
Mr. So exactly, they're just there to work, to collect paycheck. Even in the days of Tubber or Tubman, I mean, if you go back to history and start reading, they got some pictures. You go on Liberia you go on some website and you put in Liberia, you'll see some old pictures. The press of the Republic of Liberia, they were not sleeping. When the President Tubman, or even President Tubber goes out to go visit, that's when they showcase. Because when you go out there to visit, you're not only showcasing the people you're meeting, but you're also telling them where you're coming from. What is your own societal background in terms of a governmental issue? You go out there, you behave like that. The people say, but no wonder why the people are struggling. Because you got nothing to offer.
So,
Nothing.
but we can draw the conclusion. Are these people advising to and nobody's paying heed to them? That could be another portion to all of that.
Mr. So, let me say this again, and I don't mean to be degrading to the system or to the people who are working. But if you take on position, you pay for your position.
What do you mean by you pay? What do you mean by you pay?
Well, for example, I live from here, and because I got money, I pay somebody. Before it used to be my girl. I don't know who it is now. And then they give me the deputy minister job at the finance ministry. What am I going to do over there? To do what?
So, talking about pay position, what is gardening? I was just talking to someone late this evening, and I was shocked. I mean, we've been hearing about this, but I was shocked. Water and Sewer Corporation that I know, tournament agents, these are places that people should not even struggle to get their paycheck. But I was talking, I can call Honey. I was talking, he said, hey, we are not getting paid. But the MD was brave to tell them, he said, I don't care what you do. I pay for a day. Your tour, you will get tired. And I'm moving from here until I decide. I said, is that what? He said, yeah. He said, so I pay for it when y'all will tell you get tired. I don't care y'all can go on strike, y'all go all kind of. I pay nobody moving me from here. So, and it was they said it's according to her, I said it was through Maggie, and Maggie, we know he was a King Kong, he was a Goliath, he was the elephant in the room. Whatever he says, more or less the president, even though he's not there. But hey, that confidence is being built. So, is it what we are getting with this sort of this behavior? Will it change? Is there anything? And who
Well,
will change that?
one thing I can say for sure, in as much I will like for Ambassador Bakai to be the president, but if Comey was successful in becoming, because if Ambassador Bakai become president, the same thing. Look at Anthony Cassidy then. Look at George Lobo then. Do you see any kinds of serious changes coming out of there? I don't think so. But because Dr. Honorable Bakai, Ambassador Bakai will leave that to them.
What's about Cummings, your guy?
Cummings, on the other hand, if he was successful, yeah, you might not have people who have the ability to do those things, but he would demand those things from them. That's the difference. Cummings, when you get a job, before you get a job, people, first of all, people who are going to be around him to make sure people get appointment. He will make sure those people who get appointment are truly worth the appointment, number one. And so if you're given a job, that you will be given a job based on your credentials and not who you know. And this is what I keep saying about Comey. And now let me break my own neck here tonight. And you know,
Okay, before you do that, I did hear you saying you say that boycott what he was going to do.
Ambassador Waka, you will not push them. People like Anthony Cassidy and George Lobo, they will do exactly what they want to do. Ambassador Waka is not going to push anything.
That's something you surely aware of. That's what's going to happen.
Well, I mean, just look at, for example, what happened here in Philadelphia when it came. George Lobo was answering for Ambassador Waka. Was he supposed to? It was ridiculous.
Do you agree with that kind of behavior?
And that's what. No, I don't agree with it. But this is my point.
So do you see him with all of that? Because those are apprehension. Do you still see that as somebody who is ready to lead a country?
Yeah.
What?
I'm serious. Yes, I'm serious. Like I said, let me just tell you now. Let me just tell you this. Let me tell you this. So perhaps you will be able to understand what a liberal comes from when he makes these kinds of pronouncements. I admire Ambassador Bakai. One reason why I'm saying that I would like for him to be the president, the next president of the Republic of Liberia, number one, he has the experience. Number two, he has done this. He been not presidency, but he's been around for a long time. And then the third thing is that based on his age, that he's not going to be willing to rock Liberia like this being rocked right now. So based on that, he has the ability to truly stabilize. But before that, let me make this last point here, Mr. So. I've always come out here and say, Kumi told us he doesn't have a connection in Liberia.
Dad, can you elevate your camera a little bit? You can adjust your camera to get. Okay, good, perfect. All right.
I will come out here and say, Kumi will tell you, and there's a video, I have that, where he said, I'm not connected. But let me add the other phrase to this, I'm not connected. He stated that. But this is this is what he truly came out, what came out of him. He said, if somebody comes to me, I get you a job, and you go steal, and I'm ready to execute my plan of making sure no corruption by putting you to jail. Liberian other people will not come to me. And that's he said, this is one of the things that helped me, because the fact that I'm not connected with many Liberians, nobody will come to me. I don't have my brother, I don't have my sister to come begging me for that. And this is what I mean by he said, when I say he's not connected. And this is why I'm saying that if he were to be successful, that he will push people. Anybody that get a job, He will push you to perform what your application say you're going to do. You're going to have to, or else you pour yourself out. Comey will do that. Ambassador Barker will not do that.
Okay, hold on one sec. Let me welcome our senior contributor, Dr. George Toto. Dad, good evening and welcome.
Yeah, good evening, Alfonso, the Labour for Total.
Good evening, Doc.
You know what, the Labour, you look so young tonight.
Huh?
You look so young tonight. What going on?
Maybe that a county.
Yeah.
Maybe that a county helping you, but
You look so young tonight.
Doctor, I'm almost 95-year-old, but I'm still 45.
Yeah, that's good. Keep it up.
Thank you.
All right, Dad. Good evening. Welcome. We are looking at the visit of the president. We'll be looking at the what I would say so-called reconciliation charter in the Liberty Party. Blah blah blah. All these same old thing we've been talking about. But Liberal, don't you don't see your actions? You're saying kind of being disingenuous. All of these things that you say, Dr. Boaka, hey folks, he can't do this, he can't do that. So why are you still pushing? That's why I don't get. What are you when you have this sort of apprehension about him and the folks that are going to be there? And I ask you, and you are very much vehement to say, yeah, yes, it will not happen. But then
So
let me I'm coming. We shouldn't be like those people who can be like creating drama and stuff like that, arguing. And then you counter a point, say experience. So let me ask this question: does the experience commensurate with principles, good values, uh, good governance, taking decisive decision? When you say you are convinced that these people around him will just remote him, literally.
Mr. So, this is how I look at these things from a liberal perspective. You see the cup? If I were traveling in a desert and somebody gave me the cup and the water is all the way down there, I'm not going to say, I'm not going to drink the water until it's filled to the rim. There are some character flaws of all of us. So, Dr. Baka, from my perspective, I feel this was just a character flaw as far as I see it. But that does not negate the fact that I believe he can stabilize this ship. And that's all I say. I must be able to have the ability to separate what I believe he can do. And in the process, if I just say, I support him because he does, he good, he does, blah, 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 without any kinds of character flaw, then I'm not being sincere. But in order for me to be sincere, in order for me to show my true color, I must also be truthful of what I think. That perhaps Ambassador Baka will not be able to do these things that I'm saying. But that doesn't mean he's not going to be able to rule and help to stabilize Liberia. That's not the point. The point is, if Ambassador Baka was given this kinds of opportunity with Anthony Cassidy and George Lobo and the rest of the people, they will repeat the same thing. Because we saw the example here in Philadelphia, where Ambassador Baka allowed this grandson of his, who has no clue on real Liberian politics, as much as experience, as much as Ambassador Baka, allow him to speak for him and answer for him. And that's why I'm saying, having watched that, I believe that if put in this position, Ambassador Baka will not demand.
Well, something too.
The word from them.
Okay, I will bring in Dr. Toto here and Jonathan, welcome. And you are very, very much consistent, and which that's a true part of it. But yet, you are trying to endanger us, not just only you, the country, because you know one person, the decision making it means that person just does not have an independent, they cannot make an independent decision. his decision will be based on the people that surrounding him. And those are the same thing here. You and I, all of us, and everybody complaining, oh, Mange, this one year, Archibald Bonner, Charles Bright, this and that, the president is that. That's the same thing we're talking
No, it's
about
not.
here.
No, it's not, Mr. So.
Okay, let me hold you there. Let me bring
No,
you.
please, before the two gentlemen come in.
I told you here, we don't, this is not a courthouse here. We do
Mr. So, you see, when the two gentlemen were not here, you must say, oh, we were fine, everything was fine. You are not showing your true conservative color. Yeah. But you got people here now. You ready to consider me liberal.
At the time we were two, but we are four now. So it has to go across the board proportionally. You remember what I told you, right?
But my people, I say you want to see how the conservative behave towards the liberal. Wait till you see other people in here, then you will see a true conservative self. Now go ahead. I'm listening.
Crying baby cry will not help you. You know, I'm not going to pay attention to that. They are here as a contributor. I want to hold you. When I say hold on, and hold your peace. This is not criminal code C or code A or whatever it is for us to do it. Dr. Toto.
Yes.
Yeah, let me bring you in here. The arguments of the laborer here, I am concerned. It's like I am unable to do something independently. Because the ultimate thing here is the boss start with the chief executive. He authorizes to say the armed forces of Liberia move in. This needs to stop. He is the one going to give executive proclamation. And the laborer is convinced, the guy he supports, he's convinced that his decision making is contingent on other people. They will twist him around. They will manipulate him. They will persuade him. Yet, he's still telling us the experience part. You experience, but your experience does not commensurate with your decision making, with the things that you stand for. How serious, how concerned are you? What the laborer wants to put us into?
Yeah, Alfonso, that's a very good point. I'm kind of very concerned when it comes to the self-execution that Ambassador Boyka holds. But when it comes to decision making, he's very poor. Let's just go back to the Meridian or the MCC report that people are celebrating the government now already passed. But go check out some of the let's look at some of the indicators where the government failed. We talk about government effectiveness. The government failed that aspect. So when it comes to government effectiveness, what does that mean? What is it saying? It's a same thing that to George Weah. We all look at George Weah and say George Weah be the best president for Liberia. We'll celebrate that here. People know, but when it comes to decision making, when it comes to George Weah, how he analyze issue, it's very poor. And people completely say they blame Mange. They say Mange, the one was there. They blame Simon Tuer, that Simon Tuer control him. And it's the same thing when it comes to Ambassador Boyka. Boyka has served in government for more than 40 years. We know he have the history. But when it comes to decision making, people are a little bit afraid also too that you have the George Lobo, you have the people, the Anthony Cassidy, like laborers say, they all going to have some whether the negative or positive, they going to have an impact on your decision making. And look at the old man when he was the head of the CPP. Look at what happened. What happened to the CPP? You know?
Was he the one that when he was here, that when he goes back, he was going to put things under control, right?
Yeah, we know he's going to put it in control. People say he's a man of wisdom. He's a man of knowledge. 40-year experience. They gave all the best they could give. But look what happened to CPP. So he have a lot of, he had the experience, but his decision making is very poor. And that's the same thing. Even if Ambassador Boyka was president today for Liberia, the military report that came out today, I believe they have flung in our government or the government effectiveness also to us. The previous government, the present government flung in that aspect too, but they're not looking at it, they're looking at the other aspect of passing the millennium report. They are celebrating it, but look at the key area: primary education, grass education, all this area. Those are key issues when it comes to governing a country. But they're flying to it, but they're looking at the other what I don't really anyway that contribute a lot, but they are celebrating it. So that is simply I put Ambassador Boyka in that category too.
Okay, in the same category. Good evening, welcome. So, Jonathan, let me come to you. I am concerned. I'm concerned because of our Liberians. I also have this thing at stake. I don't want people who cannot stand up for me. I don't want people who will be making decisions when somebody is sick and they're waiting for that person to be to RV to be a minister and get well to make national decisions when the country's security is at stake. I don't want someone who is, when you as a head, people seek consultation, they want to come to you, but instead you waking up to go, what do you want me to say? I don't want a leader like that. Apparently, this is what the liberal is saying. That is scary. He's trying to take 100 years back. The pit that we are already in. The liberal is now on purpose while we are alive is digging on us to bury us alive.
Firstly, let me say that if the conversation is on the basis of strength, age, it is not equal that one with age cannot be a president. But I think when it comes to age, in the particular instance of Liberia, it is so unique that we had referendum 2011. Among the different propositions, we had the proposition on the justices. That's why you saw today, a few weeks ago, the Chief Justice resigned or retired. The age limit that was given them, that's just a branch of government with certain responsibilities to dispense legal matters without prejudice, was between 70 and 75. If someone can correct me, 70 or 75. And we passed on that instrument 2011 elections. The wisdom behind that legislation was at that age, you tend to retard your mind, your judgment tend to be poor, tend not to be accurate. But the interesting thing about it is that it was just a particular branch of government with focus only on dispensing legal matters. So if you twist it the other way, in developed world, where there are things and systems set in place, and there have been a history of democratic tenets being continuous, it means that it is at the advantage because system is in place. Most of it, they are automatic. So you can have that person just flow through the system easily. In our instant case, Ambassador Bwaka, she assumed national leadership, will be 80-something years. Not only 80-something years, but on his life confection on 50-50 that he carries pacemaker. Is that something I intend to talk about health-wise? No, I don't intend to talk about it.
You're talking about it?
Yes, I'm talking about it because he said it. How you not say it, we'll not be discussing
Yeah,
it.
but what my focus point here, and you can carry on, not to interrupt you. You can say I'm not going to regulate what you're going to say, but not to talk about it, even though you're talking about it. Almost like Joseph Boyka and what you say, Edwin Snow's, they sort of shenanigans that were all rolling today on Spoon. Like, oh my goodness, we are in a trouble in our country. I am concerned. The leprosy, he's unable to make decision for himself. He's been taught to regulate it. You know how with the kids, your son or daughter sits in the living room and then get out wheeling and just doing it like that. That's what the liberal is telling us. George Lobo, Eric Costa, Anthony Kesselly, those are people, and he's aware of that.
And I have a living confession to that. I have a living confession to that I can speak to directly. Firstly, there are a lot of stakeholders for the Unity Party, both old, young, very professional people. I know my former boss didn't know Beggar Kidia helped Maran Serif tremendously to become president. And the president chose to only come to Henry Costa in America. Henry Costa, an odd person that did not speak to the kind of leadership. I remember sometime this year, I have gone to the United Party under disguise, and I will say that. And they have had meeting in a conference room because we're using nose masks, so nobody could recognize me. And I saw that we had a CPP struggle. And from my reading, Ambassador Bwaka chose not to comment in a negative faction from the meeting, the EC meeting of the CU Unity Party. But when they came out, and I saw Mo Ali making statement, the paper too weak. The paper he just made a statement that no Unity Party, no election in Lofa, no election in the country. And then I took out the no mask deliberately, and God be my witness, and I shook Mo Ali hand. And when Mo saw me, Jack.
So you went at ANC spy or what?
United Party headquarters on Broad Street. When I shook Mo hand, then Mo said, Chi, how you doing? But he was shocked. When I got in my car from Broad Street to Kerry Street, the boss man, Mr. Bwaka, was already making the statement that Mo has said. So it means that there's a problem here. And it goes way back to all of what Snow was saying. I mean, they look too good, you know, making such a statement. But Ambassador Bwaka needs to make a decision. I'm also aware that Ambassador Bwaka could not brief people about the vice standard barrage 2017, and he poorly chose Emmanuel Nukwe to the extent to which the vice president said to a confidant that was supporting Ambassador Bwaka, who will be a running mate. And the vice president looked to the president and said, I cannot say my running mate now. Close to the election. Even my wife, I think her name is Keturah something. And he said, even my wife does not know who my running mate. Then I got shocked. Because it is out of sharing experiences between Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton that gave out the leadership inclination for which he contested. So if your wife cannot know and share idea with you, it's highly damaging.
All right, let me hold you right there. We must make our answers and responses very succinct so that we can have enough time. Sister, good evening and welcome here. Look, I know it might sound boring to other people while we're talking about this here, but this is very crucial. This is important. We are funding people, and it just doesn't go to Ambassador Bwaka, but we are funding national leaders who are going to be making some lifetime decisions for us, who will either endanger the affairs of the state or who will either some kind of thing. And that is very, very much crucial. This is why this country, their leaders, they ask for their medical papers and all of that because they must be fit to lead. I am only concerned because this guy, this liberal, he's supposing, which of course is his constitutional right, but he alluded, he confessed it. The apprehensions are there in terms of his ability to lead and how he could potentially be manipulated. Yet, he said the experience. So the question becomes, does the experience commensurate with his decision making, making decisive decision, or these people going to be the one he's going to get consultation from? Instead of they're getting consultation from him, he's going to be going to get consultation. I don't know. Maybe I'm throwing it off the radar here.
Yeah. I'm going to respond to, I think, both the liberal and Jonathan. But I think the idea of discussing ageism is just wrong. Just like discussing homosexuality in our body politics is wrong. So the ANC ought to be very ashamed of that. To also talk about the fact that the vice president listens to his handlers. In the United States, the presidents have handlers. That's why you have the National Security Council. That's why the president have a daily briefing. You go to these experts and they tell you what to say. President Joe Biden is not an economist. He cannot speak on with authority on how to deal with inflation. That is why he has a council of economic advisors. So I don't see anything wrong with that. Unless you're trying to tell me commies know everything about everything. The last time I remember, Jonathan said commies does not. And he will be leaning on experts. So is he telling us that when commies start to talk about mechanized farming in Liberia, he's not going to listen to the experts and he's not going to be regurgitating what the experts are told him? This is sad. This is and for Jonathan to come out and really talk about people making VP choices that were not the greatest choices. Dude, y'all pick Jeremiah Solonte. He's no longer a member of the ANC. So y'all be careful how you throw rocks, my man. Because y'all got a whole lot laying down for you. So that is just wrong. And the idea that age limits in the Western world, in America where we live, Joe Biden cannot be a civil servant because he's past the retirement age, but he can be president. He can run for elective office. So yes, there are rules on civil servant positions that are not elected positions, but there are no rules on elected position because the Constitution, that would be an infringement on your right. So you can't tell me that because there's a limitation on the tenure or the age limit on being a justice of the Supreme Court, that also should have applied to elected positions. That is comparing apples and oranges. So I just think that analysis is flat out wrong. And so when Lpr said that Cummings would be somebody who would be very careful about people he appoints because the people around him will scrutinize. And then I'm still thinking about, how did they scrutinize Louis Brown and General Che? How did they scrutinize that? Mariah Yakula, the chief of office staff to Cummings, was on Spoon TV and said she was a part of that decision. Just how McGill, the chief of staff to President George Weah, was a part of the decision to appoint, to nominate people that were not qualified to lead various agencies that were rejected. And we came out and said that McGill was doing a disservice to the president. Couldn't even take office as the chief of staff doing disservice. Look, guys, we can criticize, but we have to be careful and notice that we got rocks laying down for our own glass house. Cummings has not shown, to me at least, that he has that ability to be able to go with what his mind said and what his gut said. My example is, he was so quick in less than 24 hours to ask for the resignation of his chief of staff. Ava Tokpa wrote a research paper, a book, which was based on research. He was willing, the learned ABC was willing to remove somebody because of an academic work. This is the guy who owns a school, by the way, was willing to remove somebody because of an academically research work. But it's because people complain that he quoted verbatim people and the book was X-rated. But yet he is still afraid to walk away from the general that gave us the war between the Taylor government and General Roosevelt Johnson, from the general that led commandos on the streets of Monrovia, hunting down people. So y'all tell me, how is Cummings proving to us that he's capable of following his guts? I think Cummings at this point is showing that he is flip-flopping. It just depends on which way you think he gets the vote, and that's how he's going to roll.
Okay. I'm not sure whether Lpr still want to speak on it. Lpr?
Well, if you're not going to interrupt my whatever ideas and explanation that I have, but first of all, let me just say this, Mr. So. I like the way you conservatives would take a liberal view and try to massage it, manipulate it to fit your standing. However, nowadays, all of these things that we do, you can go back tomorrow or even right immediately after the show and review these things, and you will see it. I did not say that Ambassador Baka is weak. I did not say that Ambassador Baka will be manipulated by people. What I stated simply was this: that right now the question was, we have President Weah, and the people who are doing the press release are not doing him a favor by coming out and making some ridiculous cell phone stuff and what have you. And my statement was this: so even if Ambassador Baka was to take office right now, same thing will happen. Why? Because I saw Ambassador Baka performance at the Philadelphia Hall, where he allowed his grandson, somebody who is old just to be his grandson, will speak for him. And I also stated that the likes of Anthony Kesseley, Ambassador Baka will not push back on these kinds of stuff. Whereas I believe Kumi would demand that people perform. But instead, you took it and put on a silver platter and give it to Jennington for Jennington to come out here and bring out age. There's nothing in my statement that even come close to age. But then again, that's what we have. That's the work of the conservative. That's what they do, and you guys are very good at that. But let me just say this, Mr. So. I would think that our brothers and sisters, whether educated or not, you will want somebody who will be truthful. You don't want anybody to be a praise singer. Because all of these things, there were people still in George Weah government that knew exactly that the president did not have certain ability to perform certain work, but they were not able to bring those out. They were there, oh, he can do this, he's praise singing. I'm not one of the praise singers. So for me to come out here, one thing you should know, I do have the ability to compartmentalize my issues. And because of that, I will come up here and tell you what I believe to be the character flaw of Ambassador Baka. I still support him. I still admire his work. They don't know me. I don't know that. I keep saying it, but people make fun of it. But that's the truth. Okay? But the fact that I will come out and not singing praises and not telling you things that will be just to be something that will benefit the ambassador, it's the right thing to do. If I come out here and say, oh, Ambassador Baka will not do that kind of thing the president doing right now, knowing within myself, that's not what I believe. So if I come out and say, this is what I believe, I think we should appreciate such a person. But of course, you are a conservative, and that's why you guys, I'm a liberal. I come to these things from a broad perspective. And so I will say again, if something is not right, and I know it, I will say so. If something is not wrong, if something is wrong, and I know it, I will say so. Whether I support you or not. And this is what I use that word, but you said for me not to use it, you have a serious meeting with the real board chairman. By the way, the board chairman, like bro, called me and said, somebody called me and said, but something to, what you calling yourself board chairman? You know, I hear, and I have to apologize to the man. I'm not a real board chairman. I play one on TV. I'm LPR board chairman on TV. So, but the point here, on a very serious note, Mr. So, I think you guys need to appreciate when somebody comes and make these kinds of pronouncements, which he believe from his bottom of his heart. I'm not here to sing praises. I will always say something. If it's not right, I will say so. I challenge, not Sissy, but I challenge Jellington. And I even challenge the good doctor.
Why is a scooter?
Well, because I've seen Sissy going at his own people. I've seen that. I've not seen that from Jennington. I've not seen that from a good doctor. So Jennington will tell you the rosy side of Cummings, but he will not tell you the so much the jaggedy edge of Cummings. I have not seen that from a good doctor either. But this is what we do, and I think that's what good. Now, even my conversation, if Ambassador Bakai is a true leader, he will consider my conversation, and he should be grateful to that. Because now, if he gets these kinds of information, he will try to despair or try to disabuse me by saying, no, Mr. Toll, what you say is not this, it's this, it's that. This is how I do it. That's how you get the truth out of the people. Mr. So I'm a liberal, and you can't change me.
All right. Okay. Let's pivot here, gentlemen. I want us to talk about it 30 minutes or whatever we get to go here. So we're going to split it to two. Sunday, we're going to be hosting one of the presidential expiry, and that's going to be exclusive. In fact, I had a little chat with the analysts because interestingly, things that we would be doing here. Do I have to come on and say this here? People can be watching. Oh, I see your guys. Those guys, I'm coming. And they try to give describe everybody. There seems to be a top people, but I'm coming. One there call himself liberal, and one there call himself the Gonglo guy. The other guy call himself the ANC, blah 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 blah. We're gonna be talking, but that's gonna be right after that. We're gonna insert different thing here after the exclusive. Then the analyst gonna be coming in to provide. But let's do a little bit quick profiling here. This is this lady she been contesting, Mandela Cooper, very articulate, very forceful in her talking. She's gonna be my guest this Sunday on the Liberian War Today. Very forceful in talking. Let me start from Dr. Toto here. What would be looking for in that conversation with Mandela Cooper? What will you be hoping to hear from her as a presidential candidate? Hopeful.
First, thank you. I think first of all, I know Mandela Cooper. I engaged her when I was chairman for ULA. In fact, there was a program we had in New York when Ambassador Shalonta was the ambassador at that time. It was a joint program, independent program. And she was one of the keynote speakers to that program. And since that time, she was very close to the former ULA president, Vama Fofana. So we had that relationship going. But I think she's a very forceful woman. She comes with a plate with a lot of knowledge and also from the feminine perspective, that she have a voice in our democracy. Because most of the time when it comes to our liberal politics, it's like a male-dominated politics. And so for now, she coming from that perspective, and then she's a force to be reckoned with in our body politics. So I can say that for real. And then I know other people that engage her. I know some people that work on her team personally, and we'll have conversation and they talk about the knowledge and the experience that she had. Despite she has some negative stigma that attached to her when it comes to liberal politics. And I think she has overcome some of these challenges from the last election. There was some negative stigma that were attributed to her. But as a female, you find yourself in such a contest, the more male-dominated competition, you find yourself on some little bit attack. But I think she has overcome the challenges from 2017 up to that. I think she prepared to make a significant impact in the race and becoming 2023 next year.
Okay, let me go to Jonathan and then I'll go to Sissy. Jonathan, the question will go to you, but I will just reconstruct it here. We're going to get more details out of her with respect to the strength of her party. But I know there were a couple of females candidates the last time around, 2 or 3 that I interviewed that appeared on my program. And they was talking about her. She was very supportive of the representation. Even what's her name? This senator from Bapolo, she was one of those supporters. What is lacking in terms of a message that is not resonating, perhaps, in my own turn here? Will we see a different side of Mandela Cooper, you think?
Thank you for bringing that Bapolo thing into action up. We all were on that team, and that's why she's my sister. We all went on that campaign as
Oh yeah.
opposition as women. Yes, I was there with her. We won the election together. We were there as strategists for that one polling place in Norman Datono, and we were able to bring that victory, on board. Uh, Madam Mandela Cooper is vociferous. She has the intellectual well with her, and she has connection with the women, solidarity in political actors, and I think she will make a comeback into the process. I think Liberian politics, like I was saying on one platform, it has not been really institutionalized. It is no different from that of the country. It's a governing style for 175 years. So all the smaller parties struggled along the way. And so bit by bit, she gonna get there. And that's what I can say about her.
Okay, that what you can say about her. Yeah, you guys hang out from Bapolo, and so there's some sort of little connection. Is there any conversation you're aware of with ANC and that about obviously everybody want to form some sort of collaboration to get a hitch up here or get hook up. So is there any conversation ongoing with her party as well? Share material in that process, you think?
I don't know
Anything
of
you're aware?
I don't know of any conversation as to joining the ANC, but I know that she has a very good relationship with Mr. Cummings and a lot of the folks
No,
on the.
not joining with AMC, but to form some sort of a union or collaboration as an opposition to.
That is why I'm saying I'm not aware of it, but she have a very good open line conversation with Mr. Cummings, and I think at the right foot time it might pay off. Whether she contests, whether we appear in second round, but we got a solid, human relationship.
Okay, solid. So, Sese, quickly here. Um, Mandela, she been contestant. She have this sort of political ambition. What could potentially happens after this time around when things turn out to be maybe what she has done and anticipated? And I'm going to be asking you some really tough question here. Will she be a factor here? Who is talking to her? Does she have the sort of a political base? What is lacking in her message? You think so that maybe why she can take a pick out the senatorial? I know I asked comment this here, but everybody wants to get a powerball position, which of course is good. Like a guy, Tia wants to say Gonglo, Councilor Tia wants to say Gonglo. He wants to be the president. Nobody want to be the vice president. Don't want to be even. Yeah, everybody wants to get up there. What will you be looking for in the interaction come Sunday to see a different side, or what will you be anticipating to hearing from her?
Well, full disclosure, I've actually not paid much attention to her campaigns since she's been running, just because the whole drama issues that brought her to the forefront kind of just messed everything up. But I am hoping to really listen to her for the first time keenly, and really see what she stands for and what her ideology on leadership and policy and politics are. But sadly, politics are traditionally male dominated, and more so in Liberia than many other places. And so it's really difficult most times for even our most qualified and most experienced women to be able to make it out through the clutters of male-dominated roadblocks and everything that comes with that, and everything our society places on what women are expected to do and not do. So I've been listening to her with a clear heart. But again, we can go back and look at the data from the last time she ran. And I know, yes, people say, well, why don't you do that at Cummings? Well, the reason I don't do that at Cummings is ever since the last election, even though Cummings has 7%, like people keep saying, but Cummings stayed engaged. And he stayed in the limelight. Ms. Cooper has not done that. she kind of disappeared for a while and almost like went in hibernation. And so now coming out with few months to elections, does she have the money to be able to pull out more votes than she had the last time? Because Comey stayed engaged. He has the money. He recruited. He expanded on his team. He's done a lot of things to give them more stature. So to answer your question about, for me, I'll be here sitting and listening, and I'll be back, because I'm a numbers person. I'll be doing comparative analysis and looking at the numbers and see what has been her strength. Where has she been getting the most votes? What does it look like for her when you leave Monrovia? And what does that look like? Like, for example, I'm going to pick Kawieke. What does the numbers look like for her in Kawieke? Is she just a Monrovia politician? And so those are the things I'll be looking forward to. But between, honest to God, I am actually hoping that she can make it through the clutter, because I think we need to have some of these very young, energetic, forceful speakers and very smart and intellectual women like that she's proven to be, to kind of step up, and rightfully own their spaces and own their ground in the political spheres in Liberia. So I'll be listening with, and I'll be coming on to learn and to ask some questions.
Okay, the Liberal.
Yeah, Mr. So, thank you. I've listened to her before, because the very first time when she came on LPR, excuse me, where she were able to give us a wonderful, wonderful performance, as far as I'm concerned. But let me say something. I was says to make a statement here about Sit's statement, comment, which was, he said, Liberia, where men dominated politics in Liberia than any other country.
I said in most places, not any other country.
Okay, the most places, and I still laugh. Ivory Coast, surely not. You're not talking about Ivory Coast. Ghana, surely not. You're not talking about Ghana. Nigeria, surely not. You're not talking about Nigeria. What is it? Guinea?
I didn't say Africa. I'm talking about Australia.
I'm coming. Okay, United States. United States.
Okay, guys, hold on.
It's on the floor.
So let you finish, then you're going to come in.
United States. Compare that to Liberia. United States flunk. Liberia, the country with the first female president of the entire continent, Liberia. So as far as Liberia and Liberians are concerned, they don't see the difference between female politician and male politician. All they know is you're good, they accept you. But I just want to say this here. I think coming on here for the second time, I think first thing I want to also say, I believe, I could be wrong, but I think she enjoyed coming on LPR. I think the last time she was here, you guys had a wonderful engagement, and I think she enjoyed that. Now, the fact that she's been away, I think what I will say to that is this. Besides, she had her own little NGO here and there doing things for the girls, by the way. So the fact that you don't hear her writing open letter to the president and what have you, I believe she also, just like me, believe we have one president at the time, not two, or thinking you're going to be president and waiting. Therefore, you want to have some sort of a competition going around with a broom. Why would she want to carry a broom to do what? When it's time to come to demonstrate her leadership, she will come and show that. She doesn't need to go around with broom and chastise the Supreme Court, chastise the presidency and what have you. And then you think that because you do all of those, now be a men dominated, as you say. But the young ladies of the Republic of Liberia, very intelligent, beautiful women, highly educated, They gave you guys the men dominated, as you said. They demonstrated to you guys here some 5 or 6 years ago. There was an incident in Monrovia where the men dominated decided they wanted to throw Mary Blood in jail. And the girls' power, black, Central Pressy, said no woman going to jail. And the Mary Blood didn't go to jail. These are intellectual, highly educated women that are trying their best to help you. You heard what what's the name? Councillor Bo said. Say, oh man, you ain't able to handle that thing. Y'all give it to us. We did it before. We can do it again. Want a T-shirt? So her now coming, being able to challenge the president foot to foot, that does not mean that she's not going to be able to do a good job. I've listened to her, seriously, truthfully, on a very serious note. You listen to her Sunday, you will be amazed. She's highly intelligent, just like you.
Well, you were talking about...
Can I make a point? Can I make a real quick point? Because I don't think the Liberal listened to anything I said. I did not even allude that she was not intelligent. I said she is very smart and articulate. I said, I hope she can make it through the quarter. But by the way, Liberal, leadership does not just mean the president. Political leadership is not just the president. But since you want to talk about that, let me give you a list of places that did this thing before you got Ellen. You remember Margaret Thatcher, Prime Minister?
England. Those are
the Central African Republic.
That's somewhere else. Down at the different place.
Gold in my hair. Look, hold on. Israel had gold in my hair. Indira Gandhi from India. Before we even did this thing, Portugal had a female president. The Dominican Republic, Iceland. The Liberal. Don't do that. Right?
So why they call Ellen? Why they say Ellen was the first female president of in Africa?
Elijah.
First female elected president in Africa.
Elijah.
Why is that?
You asking me or the people who said that? I said Prime Minister. The Liberal. In other countries, they don't all have the same leadership, political setup like we have.
Okay.
A prime minister. A prime minister is the head of government. It's not the president.
Elected.
The prime minister was elected.
No, okay. So why they say then? The question then is
again,
why
they say a first female president is different from a prime minister. There's the technicality. Just like in Africa, the first independent republic is Liberia, but Ethiopia is the oldest independent empire.
You're not going to dissuade me from anything else on this. Liberian people are very, very tolerant of female as much as they're tolerant with male.
Okay. So quickly here.
What is the percentage? What is the percentage of political representation in Liberia, male to female? Let's go back to 1960.
Because your men then refuse to listen.
But that's the point I'm making.
We just passed 30%.
Let's return to base. I don't know where the Liberal came from with this whole broom, but near the last 15 or 60 minutes for us to go.
Let's look at some of the challenges that she will confront 2023. Like what I want to talk about, some of the challenges.
Yeah, and what we're doing, we're just getting a kind of a sneak peek of what we're going to look at. But I think we're going to have a detail after the conversation. We'll be able to get a clear picture. We don't want to kind of like put her on the pole right now. Let's leave the anxiety like this, and let's see here the last page here. This sort of so-called peace smoking pipe here, or whatever it is. Reconciliation Charter in Liberty Party could put UP Biker ANC comments on notice. Folks, are these guys just want us to talk something? Is this thing real? Biker Cummings already drew his red line. He wants to be a president, period. Joseph Biker on the other end, I have served as vice president. There's no way that I can go as number 2. What sort of reconciliation, what sort of conference, what kind of donor, or what kind of political conference name the thing that these people they want to go to for us to settle this thing here? Is it just a waste of our time?
To settle what?
the ANC, the Liberty Party, the Unity Party to come together as one? Is
You
that
know what I mean?
something?
Let me start first with that.
Yeah.
To me,
Who willing to surrender the
to
number
me,
one position and big boy number one?
that's to me, it's just a complete waste of time, resources, putting human capital, human resources together to go and discuss an issue that will not land on a solid ground. You saw how the CPP have been split already, how Ambassador Boyka even helped to dismantle the CPP. And Kobe has that, yeah, has seriously against Ambassador Boyka. So it's not going to hold. Even the Liberty Party right now, the Liberty Party is still struggling to hold. We saw Charlie Broski, the former Senator daughter, joining the other side or Labour Party on the Hassan Benitez side of the Liberty Party. So it's not going to hold. The best thing I can tell the guy, go to the election, whoever come out, they come out. They shouldn't just fool themselves to say, oh, want to go have a discussion, want to put on something. It's not going to work. And these are the simple mistakes they are making. When CDC come up Victoria tomorrow, they will say, oh, if we do this, forget about what happened. Go and campaign. Focus on winning the election. That collaboration meeting or party they have is not going to hold. Focus on the big picture to win the presidency. If our comings, Ambassador Burger, that's how we do. Focus on the bigger picture. But those small collaborative meetings, they're not going to hold. It just wastes of resources to me.
Okay. Waste of resources. Janitor, is it a waste of resources? Coming is moving ahead. Is coming vetting his vice president. Sure, hopeful now.
I know he said it on the show that there have been a committee already set up to vet up vice presidential candidate with different criteria, and from whence he will make the decision, the informed decision, as to the person who can partnership with him, who he can trust, who is prepared to be vice president, if possible president from day one in his absence. And so what I can say to the CPP formation is that I cannot say too much of a united party as an individual, but I can clearly, unambiguously say that the ANC can no longer go into any conversation whatsoever with the ARP that stand behind Ambassador Boyka. Absolutely zero. Period. Finish. It can never happen. And the reason is that the ALP political leader charged Mr. Cummings with criminality. And Mr. Cummings was vindicated. It can only happen, and that's why I premise it is not easy, it's not possible. It can only happen when Mr. Ure can publicly tell the Liberian people that he lied on Mr. Cummings' reputation, which I see far from happening. Anything other than that is far removed, because all of us on the platform, the best we work for in our whole life existence is our character. And anybody that temper around it, you have to stay clear of that person. And that is why Mr. Cummings said that the person who will be a running mate, he must trust the person. So even if there was a conversation to exist, my uninformed guess would be, does Ambassador Boyka, who witnessed against Mr. Cummings in a criminal case, trust Mr. Cummings?
So, meaning before I go to Sisi, in their own words, and some of their supporters, the water is being poisoned. The person, meaning the water is still contaminated, correct? Still being poisoned.
Yeah. The water is still personal to my own personal look, because I want person who hold my character. That's the only thing I survive on. That's the only thing. And so anybody temper around it, I take it to an extreme level, to be honest. But if it should happen that the Unity Party should come in a second round, like consider Gonglo and other political parties, and if we are unfortunate to come, which is very unlikely based on what we are prepared to deploy, we will take that opposition over George Weah, who are dreadfully carry our country backward. That's what I can say for certainty, because it will be the lesser evil tendency.
Sissy, um, I'm trying to see the pathway here from the opposition wall that is yearning and seeking for replacement for of this sitting president here. But there seems to be no consolidations with the political parties. You heard what Jennifer is saying. They still believe the water is still being poisoned. The team, they are doing a vetting of their VP. I don't know what is happening with in the tier 1 war as well. But how this thing will end up when everybody decides to go their way? Maybe a segment of Liberty Party with Unity Party will go into Unity Party. Another segment of Liberty Party goes to Alexander Cummings, like the Bailey faction wing of Bailey's Hassan Ability group. And if it stays like this, comes 2023, is there a recipe for CDC to be re-elected?
Well, Mr. So, I will say one thing. My late mom advised me one time that when married people, when they break out and making flour, don't put your more inside. When they make peace, that you don't can be. Let ANC people and the Unity Party people go back to their political marriage and go face that thing that they've been in. My mother is all I wanted. So, but because you're here and see Jay won't look at me over here. So, but on a serious note, this thing is becoming very comical. But for the fact that it is about the future of our country. You see a simple press briefing by Charlene, Councillor Bronsky.
Mm-hmm.
I saw my brother underneath there. He was feverishly typing. The ANC people are interpreting it as a win for them. In fact, she didn't say she was going for ANC, CPP. She said she was running on Liberty Party ticket. And she wrote a letter to the chairman and to the 2 secretary generals. But somehow ANC ran with that like they had won the World Cup or something.
Which two secretary, sorry?
She also sent to the secretary for the Grand Bassa chapter. And she said they had not responded to it. So those are the 2 secretaries I'm talking about. And by the way, that Grand Bassa chapter is beholden to Yomri Kanga. So so for people to be running with that when she didn't even say that she was supporting the CPP, all she said was she followed the process as laid out. So that was kind of funny. But the problem is, why are we even in this place? That we are here trying to celebrate. And by the way, let me just say this is like at the time now. I'm really disappointed in the way that conversation went with the learned counselor. The counselor sat there and complained about inheritance. A political party is an inheritance that people didn't wait for at least 1 year after the political her fathers died before they changed the way the party worked. That somehow it was like somebody went and took the family house and changed the painting on it right after the old man died. And this is a counselor at law that has lived in the U.S. and is talking about as if somebody should bequeath to her the party that her father founded with other people. That was sad. And to see that there were learned people underneath there posting "Baku, you strong," is a different day for Liberia. But having said that, though, to answer your question, if the opposition political parties, the top 3 or the top 4, if they do not desist from using their surrogates to spew negative, angry, and vicious comments and lies about the political leaders of other parties, it will be very difficult to go back to those political parties later and ask their leaders to come on and ask their supporters to come and vote for you. I'm saying this to everybody, including my guy, Tiawan Gonglo. You cannot come on air and castigate Alexander Benedict Cummings without any fact and castigate him on things that got nothing to do with political leadership. And go down to things that don't make any sense. You can't do the same thing with Joseph Boakai and then later on expect that Joe Boakai or Alexander Cummings will come and tell the people, yeah, go vote for these people that have employed these character assassins, these mercenaries for pay. Sometimes their pay is just a scratch card, right? To come out and damage the hard-earned reputation of people who put their lives out there and make their lives open by running for state position. I think it is wrong. I think the political parties, to the extent that they are not able to come together and have one leader to say we're running on a one person, I think they should all agree to run independently, but make sure that when you disagree with Cummings and the ANC, you disagree on policy issues. When you disagree with the Unity Party, you disagree on policy issues. When you disagree with LPP and Tiawan Gonglo, you disagree on policy issues. You hold them to check. Because at the end of the day, we will need everybody if we are going to be able to unseat the CDC government. And having said that, let me just put one thing out here. There is a new war beat going on in Liberia. I've watched a few talk shows, and this is very, very disheartening for my country. There are people calling for treason in Liberia. That is not right. Our recent past history, it does not augur well for us to be trying to tread down this path. Our people are not healed yet from our most recent experiment with that. The Constitution provides a way to remove the president if you so choose by going through the legislature, through impeachment. If you think the president has abandoned his office, almost every serious political party has representative in the legislature. Use them to call for an impeachment if you so think that you have the vote. But to be calling on the armed forces of Liberia to get involved, I think is very bad, is distasteful, is unfortunate. And I'm going to point out that even people from my own political affiliation that came out with that stuff on Facebook should be ashamed of themselves. Our people deserve better. We cannot be sitting in the confines of air conditions in Western worlds and calling for our people to be displaced and dislodged and murdered. Shame on anybody who is asking for the armed forces of Liberia to wrest power from a duly elected president of the Republic of Liberia.
Yeah, and talking to that before the liberal, okay, let the liberal respond. I think we're going to dance around here, and I think this is where that's a different side of Sisi Goyo that I know, unlike the liberal here. The wife of former wife, I would say with the number again, former Talot Kwiwomba, to have sent that sort of tweet. I'm waiting. I'm not sure whether Councillor Tiawan Gonglo, even if it's not, it doesn't, but Talot plays a major role. She's been going on programs, she's been promoting or share the political ideology of Councillor Tiawan Gonglo, who is seeking the higher office of the land. To rise out of that and say it's a joke or whatever it is absurd. It is ridiculous, and I'm not sure. I don't want to draw a red line on that as to whether he has come up with an official statement. But the liberal, let me bring you in here. You can also respond to that because that's something you found on here. But I want you to go straight to the first one. You argue here on your guy. He's this experience. He's the long-serving government official, wise guy. So let's give him all of the good structure, if you will. He's the old guy in the room. This whole thing here, this whole train here is going downhill. Do you think Ambassador Joseph Boakai, in any way of his wisdoms and the long service experience in government, Do you think he can solidify the opposition? Do you think there any other way that he can do to bring the opposition together? Even if he doesn't want, like the opposition claim, they do not want a second term of George Weah, President George Weah of Liberia. That's Joseph Boyka has the will to do that, to bring the opposition together. And if he doesn't, what would be running through your head?
So you say the old man, then you bring me on last. What are you saying here, Mr. So are you saying because the old man, you talk about the old man, then you say, yeah, Mr. Liberal, then you bringing me on last, then the old man here now?
You know the old man, the guy you support you is he not old man? Old man,
Yeah,
call it old man. That's another way of any respect.
That mean now old man to old man, that what you doing? No,
Well,
Mr. So on a very serious note. This whole Facebook, I call it Front Page Africa article is very, very tricky and politically dangerous for all of the political leaders involved, to be honest with you. Specifically, Armo Cummings and Ambassador Bakai. Now, Jonathan, a man's supposed to respect and hold his character higher. But for goodness, Jay, you're going to put Cummings' character above Liberia? We should now hold Cummings' character over Liberian people here? The man who want to be can Cummings, so if Cummings become president, and somebody like Prophet Keys turn on Cummings, y'all will go to Morocco and get and bring Prophet Keys in. What you talking? What kind of business is this? You holding Cummings' character over our head, Liberian people? It's unfortunate. But let me say this here. Let me say this, Mr. Saul. If this thing, what they're talking about, if it becomes real, that means if Liberty Party come together, because the way the story is being thread, first Liberty Party come together, and then the fact that Liberty Party is together, Cummings and Bakai, who split Liberty Party, will be forced to reconcile. That's the premise of that, whatever it is that they have written. One thing, I will do it both sides, but first let me deal with Cummings' issue. Cummings tend to lose the most. From my perspective, Cummings have most ability. Not only that, Cummings is also has most people at the higher up in his circle are from Grand Bassa. Louis Brown, the chair, general chair. These people are from Grand Bassa, and other people. My own lady here, who is in the state of California, the former superintendent of Grand Bassa County. So these people support Cummings. I know if you go on the list that Cummings sent out, many of these people are not from Grand Bassa, from Bassa. But the point here is this: if Ambassador Bakai decide to jump on this, he's going to make sure, if that happens, that all of these people get from behind Cummings or they stand alone. Why am I saying this? If Ambassador Bakai was to push this line for Liberty Party to come together, if Liberty Party reconcile, that reconciliation process itself will allow Musa Bility, who is still going to be considered chairman, to be part of the unity process by bringing Liberty Party together. If Liberty Party comes together and Musa Bility becomes a chairman, do you see Musa Bility as Liberty Party chairman to say, oh, I'm an individual, I'm supporting Cummings? No. What you will expect and what I most likely think will happen, Musa Bility will try to convince Cummings, because you're not going to have Dallas Dillon and Nyamli Kanga and many of the Liberty Party members to say we're leaving Baka, we're going to Cummings. It's not going to happen. So if Liberty Party, they better make sure, if Jonathan really want Cummings' character to stay intact, they better make sure there is no unity in Liberty Party. That thing Musa Belede then started, they better make sure they put stop to it immediately. Because if not, Cummings will be exposed Because if Musa Belete and these people get together and Ambassador Baka welcome them, Kumi will say, I don't want that. I want to be. Because many Liberians are saying in Liberia that Kumi don't want to be vice president. Kumi, when you talk to many of them, you know, that man swear say he want to be president. Every day we talk to him, you don't come together. That man swear say all you want is a presidency. He want nothing else. Even vice president, he want it. That's the kind of talk they have in the street of Monrovia about Kumis. And so if this thing happens, Ambassador Baka can explore that, and then Kumi will be exposed to say, no, I don't want to work with it. So bringing in, what's his name, Benda Ure, it will not help you. So let me turn it on to Ambassador Baka. Kumi can come out right now and then and say, I don't hate anybody, specifically my brothers and sisters in Liberty Party. If Musa Belete and Liberty Party want to come back together, we will appreciate it because that party will be stronger than before. However, I support that process, but ANC willing, let Kumi make that statement now before they even get together. ANC will remain the way we are. And let me tell you guys the truth. I am not here to say my character or what have you is important than any other person. But if you cannot trust anybody, why will you want to work with them? And Kumi can come out how he trusted these people from day one. And we all witnessed that. Many Liberians are quite aware of it. And they turn on Kumi. He can come out and gain sympathies from the Liberian people, thereby making him to stand alone. People will support that. But for you to be quiet and say, we're not going to do anything because of Benda Ure, then I think that you guys are taking the wrong side, because then the Liberian people say, but wait a minute, you're putting yourself above us.
So then what Omen will do now? So a hypothetical conversation. If Kumi say, okay, we got to let go, like the songwriter says, we got to let it go. I want to be the vice president. How will your Omen manage with Nyomli Kanga?
No,
Jay. Your time coming.
No, I come in. You don't know what I want to say.
No, but you don't get
On the planet Earth that we live in, on the planet Earth, you tell the public, where on the planet Earth somebody now can be to be vice president, bro. You tell it like we'll
be the first. Like, bro, will be the first. Okay. But
I'm just, hold on one second. I'm just throwing my red meat. Everybody put their scenario out there. I'm just throwing my own red meat, and then we can go for the rest of the evening. We're trying to find a political ground, right? To political ground, politicians, you're the people to say you want to move CDC. Nyomli Kanga Lawrence, Benana Ure has been heavily investing into the campaigns of Ambassador Boycott, financial resources. Nobody doing it out of free. Of course, he has a political stake ahead. That's why he want to do it. So if even a Kumi comes out now, do you think you're going to put a lime in the teeth of the vice president and say, okay, well, this is enough, it's enough. Let me make this political sacrifice. I am willing to do this. How will he Boyka manage with Nyomli Kanga Lawrence, with Benana Ure, and all of the other folks?
Very simple, Mr. So. If Kumi was to come, what you're saying now, and we're just all speculating at this point. If Kumi was to come out and say what you're saying now, then that also put Nyomli Kanga and Benana Ure at a very big disadvantage, because they have a choice: we stay with you or we move on. And that would be that. If Kumi comes out and agree on that, and Nyomli Kanga and Dallas Zeron, they all stay in Unity Party, and let's bring Liberty Party, and let's bring Liberty Party back, Musa Belete as chairman. That means they have already accepted.
Okay, quickly, let me go to before I go to Jay. If you were Kumi and finish putting your presidential campaign team together, and you reach at this bridge over troubled water, can you easily come back and have a man twist?
For the sake of Liberia, yes.
Okay. All right. Jenington, you are talking something.
Yes.
Is
I
that
know we can be
do you see any possible scenario where Comey can make a political sacrifice at this time here from the ANC side, you think?
I think Comey can make a lot of sacrifice. He can make sacrifice at every length, and I'm not holding back to anything. I'm just whether we want to present it as a hypothesis, we got to be clear about the hypothesis. It cannot. This thing is not a one-way path. That only Comey has the problem. You have listened
No.
to yeah, coming on.
Mhm.
You have listened to Costa and Unity Party folks how they been outraged on Cummings' character, including Mr. Ure, who is an avowed person supporting Mr. Bwaka. I think one needs to solve that problem in his or her head as to whether even Ure himself is willing, because he seems to be the mad dog for Ambassador Bwaka. And so until you can have that thing solved, you know,
He is the what? The mad dog?
Mr. You have said a lot of things more than my daughter. I just lower in the bar. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make
come
sure.
as a stranger. He has caused coming denigrating names. And so I just say the least. And it's one of the spokesperson for the team Bwaka or whatever the name is, has also spoken to Mr. Cummings in a more denigrating manner, Mr. Costa. I don't want him to make it an issue here. But I want to say, Madam Charlene Bronski have recognized, and I was speaking to Sissy, have recognized one Liberty Party, but with people with different views under the electoral system of our country, and that's why she applied. The Liberty Party she applied to is presided over by Musa Belete. Whether one person from that party that support normally is presided by Musa Belete. So, and that party support the CPP. So that is what I wanted to say. Mr. Cummings have never ever listed any campaign team. I've never heard it except you're making one for us. What I know of is called Team Cummings, because saying that will violate the electoral laws. I manage the interpolitical party chat room as a citizen here in Liberia. So I know every electoral process and the steps along the way. So we cannot say that because we follow the process very closely.
Okay. Gentlemen,
the ANC is the
now the general ever.
My man, Jeff go and look at it, man. I will share with you his interview with the VOA and everything about his relationship with Tito. I will share that with you.
No, not a relationship. I say he had never been a general.
Hold on. The ANC is the first political group that I see go out hunting and they kill an elephant. They're scared to claim it.
No. Where's
the elephant?
Daniel Chia, no, let me get in a few seconds. Daniel Chia to the record, and I like how the public keep following us because of history. Daniel Chia, as far as I'm aware, he has been a civilian minister, and every minister of defense is a civilian minister.
No.
So I don't know any record that he has been general.
Jonathan, let me hold you. Let me hold you to this interview on VOA where he said he disarmed. He said, I disarmed to unmail. So if you were a civilian, you would not have been disarmed to unmail. That's Daniel Chia's own word. I will share that with you.
Can we say then to the CDC, power is no longer general now. He's what? He is still surveillance. He has been demobilized, right?
The pathway, I can tell you, the pathway to the presidency of Liberia belong in large between two persons, Tewa Goglo and George Weah for 2023.
Can Tewa Goglo stay alone to beat President Weah?
Whether he will lead people, but he will be one of those that are being forced to be the president. But at the Sadako bill,
So what a second choice?
So when I was second choice, I said Tewa Goglo. Because that's the only two, we are a corporate president. So cannot eliminate out of the equation.
Hopefully when Tiawa come, we hope to host you.
You're wrong for that. You're wrong for that.
But Kobe has some of the baggage behind him. Boyka gas will be the baggages behind, they can just fit in the system right now. I think the labor support me for that aspect. They want Google is a way forward for next year. If I want to, they're going to judge me out.
Wow, that's an interesting one. All right, guys. I know we went over our time here because of the little piece here, but we're going to realize hopefully when Councillor Tiawon say Gonglo comes, we will have the opportunity to agree to see he's got a broom. He's sweeping all over. I don't know whether that broom able to grab some deck and bring them a little on sector A. That's another crossroad that we're going to. That's another crossroad.
No, you
let me just stress the point I wanted to our own sister was saying, concerning our own American one Goglo. We talk about that when it comes to some of our members from our own side. Some of the statements they are making is very ridiculous. And we'll hold Tewa Goglo feet to the fire for that. You need to speak up, engage the people if at all he want to be the face of Liberia. We have gone through a lot. Would I allow certain individual to take us back to where we were? So Tewa Goglo, some of the people they are the face of the party, address the issue. But we
don't have, this is not a society bush here. It's Tala Kuwamba did that kind of tweet. Yeah. And the name Kuwamba is a reminder. It connects to a specific. That's a specific tune she's speaking in there, talking to the armed forces of Liberia.
Yeah. So when the land councilor come here, he will make sure he appear on the show. In fact, I plan a trip to Minnesota or Delaware, one of the gathering. I will be there. When engaged will make appear on the show, he had to make a public statement regarding some of those.
What happens if he doesn't make a public statement, Dr. Toto?
I mean, he will I trust the councilor, he will speak in the peace.
But I want to hold you off your word. Okay, you say and you
let me lay this thing
you support Tiawon Gongo.
No, but before you come in, let me say this here. Let me say we have comments coming in with a list. Tiawon Gongo now have a list of trying to honor President Toba, and then Tala Kuwamba coming up with those kinds of statements. So that's pretty much Ambassador Baka is just watching you. We're just watching you. The small children, they say small children can run, but they ain't got the stamina. You go ahead. We're watching you. We're watching.
So back to the coup d'etat thing. I called that out on Facebook. I actually even shared that with you all. I called that out in our chat room. And her attempt at a correction that she said she was calling for the AFL to get involved and take about mechanized farming and the issue of ledges, as if to say there's mechanized farming going on. And even if there were mechanized farming going on, to tell the army to usurp an executive authority without the sanction of the commander-in-chief of the armed forces is in itself treasonous, and it's a coup d'etat, no matter how she split it. To the point that you were trying to raise, Mr. So, I will go on record. Just like I've been pushing comments on the issue of Daniel Che, I would not sit back and on the one hand chastise Mr. Cummings, and on the other hand play favorite to my own guy when he sits taciturn on issues like this. If the councillor does not remove Tiawon Gongo from decision making in his group, I publicly will resign from his group.
No, wait now. Let's hear it. Not removing with Tyler Kuwamba.
Yeah, I'm talking about Tyler. She cannot continue to be a face of Team Gongo. If the councillor does not take a stand to remove her, I cannot in good faith support his presidency.
Is it Tyler that used to work with health ministry?
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
So I think I get transfer aggression.
Okay. Hold on one second. Dr. Toto. Dr. Toto. Dr. Toto?
Yes.
You are about to take our home here. We are holding national leaders accountable. You people who are also hooked up and giving these political leaders support. Sister Goya has taken the bull by the horn that if the councillor does not do anything, take a decisive decision, he took his own decision. What have you to say? What's your own decision?
I trust the ability. I trust the ability of the
No, no, no,
council.
no, 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 no. Not all of the ladies, not all of the followers yet. So
Also, I trust.
I want to trust you.
I would not make a decision tonight, but I do trust the ability
You
of the
plead the
council
fifth.
to handle.
Mr. So,
You plead
Mr.
the
So,
I don't want to say I plead the fifth.
Mr. So, I think Sese, perhaps, yeah, he has a right to say what he's saying. But as a liberal here, I think I'm not going to sit here now to let these. Mr. So, you can. I don't think Sese has the right to say, if you don't do X and Y and Z, I will take my support away. That's fine. But Councillor Gonglo should not and must not dismiss anybody. People can be redeemed. And since you're talking about going to Liberia to take on position of help, to help Liberians. People can be redeemed. And so if this lady have said something that perhaps is not quite in place, which I believe is not, I think Councillor Gonglo should now publicly speak to this issue and advise the lady that we are not in this for war. We are here to politically and democratically take power. But for you to say, if he doesn't dismiss this good lady or remove the lady from whatever team that she's on, then you yourself will not be removed. Then what is the forgiving spirit that is supposed to be coming from all of us as Liberians? What is, I'm a liberal. I don't just get up and throw people away. People can be redeemed. And I think this lady needs to be given the opportunity to redeem herself.
People can be redeemed, but you cannot. People can also be held accountable. And accountability is about removing you from leadership when you make those kind of critical decisions and comments. And it's not just one comment, by the way. This is a successive links of comments. She scored on the AFL in 4 different posts about bodies are in the street. AFL takeover. It was not just one post. It was 4 posts.
I agree, but I still say she must be given the opportunity to redeem herself.
All right, gentlemen.
Without being removed from any kinds of opposition.
Gentlemen, thank you for the event. We will be back here for post discussions after an exclusive with Madam Mandela Couport on Sunday. Thank you so much. Have a pleasant weekend.
Gentlemen, thank also my anniversary is tomorrow.
Oh, am I invited? I can
fly anniversary.
Happy anniversary, Chief.
My wedding.
Is that, should we say marriage anniversary?
Why you didn't tell us? Some of us will take off time and can't chill. The die you telling us now overnight.
What kind of soup? What kind of soup? Happy anniversary, but what kind of soup?
You will eat some Zambia food.
Happy anniversary, buddy.
Happy anniversary.
You eat Shima.
I'm coming there. Please save me some.
You want to Lusaka?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we wish you a happy anniversary and enjoy yourself. So, right. So say the songwriters, the argument of the liberal progressive, we gotta let it go.
But I'm a liberal. I don't go anything else. I like to forgive. I'm a liberal. Good night, folks.